Hello, BookTube. In 2025, I tried something new on this channel. In addition to demanding endless amounts of your attention by uploading 50 videos a day, I also started demanding tribute directly from you. Now, now I have been the beneficiary of your enormous generosity for years. You have sent me your old tech. You are welcome to do that, especially old e-readers. E-readers that you don't use, I have a home for them that would welcome as many as you can send. And also, every once in a while, Mega Stuff Oreos or treats for the bean. But we have been chary of books. Rule number 1 has been firmly in place on this channel. Don't send me a book. That is always meant to be, don't send me a book blind. Because you're just seeing a book at your bookstore, your local used bookstore or whatnot, and thinking, oh, Steve might like that. And sending me a book that I actually want and don't already have, the chances of that are astronomically against you. So I just made that rule. But that, for a long time, blinded me to the sheer possibilities of send me books. Only let's discuss them first. Send me pictures of what you're contemplating, and I will tell you what I want. So no surprises. And it's amazing how many people found that a deal breaker. But no surprises. None of that. Usually, none of that. Instead, you take pictures and send it to me, and if I want it, I will let you know, including at your library book sales, where you go to the library book sale and you scan the shelves and you photograph everything and you send the pictures to me and wait for me to tell you what I want. Then you buy it with your own money, you mail it with your own money, and you wait around for me to squeal on camera. And I have a little tribute here that I did. I opened this on camera already, but then something went wrong with the video, I think, because I can't find it. But I wanted to show you this because this is just incredible. This bit of tribute is just incredible. The first 3 are by Zoe Oldenburg, who you will know for The Crusades or The World Is Not Enough. She had a couple of breakout gigantic books. And these are books of hers that are not breakout gigantic books. She wrote a book called The Cornerstone that I had as a mass market paperback. I read that thing until it fell apart. And I don't have that anymore. I never see Zoe Oldenburg in used bookstores ever. But this person did. They found 3 in perfect condition with coverings on them. And all 3 of them are set in or around the Albigensian Crusade, which is a pretty horrible time in medieval history. This is the Destiny of Fire. And there is our author. And then we have Cities of the Flesh. That cover, huh? And we have an author picture in here as well. There she is. See, she just did a whole bunch of pictures in front of that cathedral. Can any of you spot the cathedral? Do you know it? Have any of you stood where she's standing? I have. And then a work of history, not a novel. This is also about the Albigensian Crusade. But I don't know how many histories she wrote. And I don't know that I have ever read any of these 3. I don't think I have. The one that's most likely the City of the Flesh, I'll have to see, when I dip into it, how familiar it is. It's the only one that strikes me as familiar on its surface. So how amazing is that? I would never see these otherwise. Then this next one, good Lord. What a find. What a find. I never see this. Never. I never see Zoe Oldenburg, but I'm not all that looking for Zoe Oldenburg, and I never see the author we're going to finish with. I see her sometimes, but not often. But this, I never see. Just this year, I got a trade paperback of this book, knowing that the trade paperback is not well made and will not hold up well. I did it anyway, because otherwise I wouldn't have it. This is The Fifth Queen by Ford Madox Ford. This person found it in a perfect hardcover. Just incredible. This is 3 short novels about Henry VIII's 5th wife. And it's really, really good Tudor historical fiction. Tends to be overlooked, but it's really good Tudor historical fiction. And I got this. I was paging through it. I was thinking, it's high time for a reread of at least one of the parts of this book. And then I was glancing over at the trade paperback over there and thinking, well, goodbye to you, and no need ever to rebuy you. I've been rebuying that trade paperback for years. No reason to do that anymore. I have this now, thanks to one of you, to the generosity of one of you. And then these final three, good Lord. This is Mary Renault. And someone found perfect condition copies in hardcover of her 3 Alexander novels. She wrote 3 novels about Alexander the Great. She wrote a biography of Alexander called The Nature of Alexander. But she wrote 3 novels about him that I've praised many, many times on this channel. I have preached them many, many times on this channel. One of them is Funeral Games. Sorry, I don't want to block the baby there. And this is about Alexander's heirs, his powerful generals, who, when he dies right at the beginning of this book. He exits stage left feet first, when we're not 20 pages in here. And when he dies, all of his generals and lieutenants thought, well, we've conquered all of this land, almost all of the known world that we know of anyway. Who gets it all? Who's going to be the new Alexander? Of course, there's only one Alexander. And so they fell immediately to squabbling, and a whole bunch of different dynasties arose from that squabbling. And this is the story of those early people, those characters. And also Alexander's family back home in Macedon and whatnot. And I've never found this to work all that well. Mary Renault has a particular magic when it comes to writing about Alexander. She's particularly good writing about him. I think because there's a kind of chemical connection between her and Alexander, the figure she found in history. She very much does not share that with these other figures. And so the star of the show leaves the book right away, I think. I got that feeling. But I haven't reread this in a long time. So it's probably high time that I did, especially now that I have a beautiful hardcover edition like this. You might, if you don't know anything about the subject, you might think, well, okay, but why was there infighting? Surely Alexander's heir took over. Do you mean they killed his heir and fought amongst themselves then? But Alexander, there are two strands of historical mytho-history here. One is that he didn't name a successor. That on his deathbed or on his death chair or whatever, he said that his empire should go to the strongest. So whichever of you is the strongest, and fight it out amongst each other. A very clever, very orchestrated deathbed thing to say. Most orchestrated deathbed things to say never were said. So I'm at liberty not to believe it. And especially since, if he was mumbling, if he was dying, it's possible that they misheard him. One of those lieutenants is a man named Craterus, which means strength. maybe he was saying that he meant it to go to that one guy. But I'm going to give this another try. I don't like there to be a Mary Renault historical novel that I don't like. This is the only one. So I might give it another try. And then we have this was never a conscious trilogy, but this is what you would call the first in the trilogy, Fire from Heaven. This is where she relates all of the great stories from Alexander's boyhood. The great stories that are in the 5 sources that we have, especially in Plutarch. All the wonderful stories about him taming his famous horse Bucephalus, or dealing with his one-eyed horrible father Philip, or his mother, who at least told the world that he was divinely begotten. And the intrigues in court and the beginnings of his friendship with his friend Hephaestion, that in Mary Renault's treating blossoms into much more than that. That's all here. Mary Renault would not resist those stories. Those stories are just too good to resist. So here, instead of ignoring them and telling us, some boring version of what archaeology says probably happened, she gives us those stories. That's just fantastic. And she adds plenty of her own. Plenty. This is so good. It is such a great book. And then, of course, if we're dealing with this subject, there's her masterpiece, The Persian Boy. Mary Renault is another one of those authors, those annoying authors who wrote 2 masterpieces. A whole career of really good books, and also 2 books that tower above the others, and above a lot of other stuff too. The King Must Die is one, and The Persian Boy is the other here. And this is the story of Alexander in the prime of his life. So not an old man dying, or a 33-year-old man dying, and not a boy, but rather Alexander when he's conquering one gigantic tract of land after another. And she makes the decision in this book to narrate it through the viewpoint of a young man named Bagoas, who's a eunuch who travels with Alexander and teaches Alexander. Again, Mary Reynolds is a tasteful author, so she draws a veil over the details of a lot of that teaching, but teaches Alexander some of the aspects of pleasure between two men that he might not have known. Introduces Alexander to a lot of those aspects, which always struck me as an unlikely aspect of this book, since Philip II rogered anything that moved. Barnyard animals weren't safe around him. So there can't be anything that Alexander didn't know by the time he was 13. There can't be. But it's very touching and wonderful. There are a couple of great scenes where Bagoas at first thinks, well, I'm desperate. If I don't secure the favor of this gorgeous young lord, well, then I might be cast out to some rough-handed army lieutenant, or even lost completely from the court. And what would I do then? So I need him, and that makes Bagoas briefly catty and possessive and jealous and conniving, especially towards Hephaestion. There are a couple of great scenes where Bagoas realizes that not only is Hephaestion not my rival in terms of Alexander's affection, but that I couldn't rival what they have in a million years. Not in a million years. That's a tough thing to realize for a young man, but it's well done. Very well handled. The only thing about this book that isn't sweet, Mary Renaud doesn't pull her punches. Her books are, when they need to be, they're pretty violent and pretty explicit. Not in any raunchy kind of way, but the only thing she looks away from tastefully is bedroom stuff. The rest of us know. And when we first meet Bagoas at the beginning of this book, he's not a eunuch. And he doesn't volunteer for the procedure. So you're gonna have to brace yourself for that. But I have now the whole trilogy of the whole, as we would call it, the Alexander trilogy, in perfect hardcovers with plastic dust jackets on them. That is just incredible. Even in terms of Steve tribute, that is incredible. So we go the gamut here. These Alexander books I know backwards and forwards. I know them. I honestly did. Not Funeral Games, but Fire from Heaven and The Persian Boy. I honestly went a long time thinking there'll never come historical fiction that I will ever revisit as much as this, that I will ever love and want to revisit as much as this. That will never happen. But it did. You live long enough, you see everything. It did. Eventually the Aubrey and Maturin books came along. The Flashman books came along. And so we have that. 2 books out of the 3 that I know like the back of my hand. Then we have this, The Fifth Queen, which I know, but I don't know it well enough, mainly because every time I read it, I associate reading it with burying a book in several fragments. And that's not going to happen with this thing. It's as solid as a rock. And then 3 books that I don't know. Not a trilogy, because one of them is a history, but still. I don't know them well at all. I know only the barest outline of the Albigensian Crusade. The Crusades are a blank spot for me. They're an unexplored area of history for me. I've read a lot of books on them. But no offense to Jason Harrigan, but they just don't draw to me the way they do so many people. So maybe this is a way to rectify that. Either way, there you go. I thought I would share with you some more book tribute. I'm sure that more book tribute is coming. Keep in mind, your travails here of being under the thumb of a merciless booktube dictator are soon over. We're only doing this for the summer. I'm not going to send you out in the snow to your library book sale. But I wanted to show you this because, good Lord, a whole pile of history and historical fiction. How could that be better? So I'll wrap this up for now. Tribute is still flowing, and I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.